Alrighty, good morning everyone, and welcome to the Morning Huddle for Friday, May 13th of 2022. It's so great to see all of you, and today we are talking to Mr. Michael John Green. He is the Vice President of Community Development at the Dade County Federal Credit Union. Michael John helped to create the Rise Miami-Dade Fund, which is a $25 million fund created in June of 2020 to help businesses survive the COVID-19 pandemic. And let me let some folks in here. The Rice Fund was able to fund over 900 businesses in Miami-Dade County and thousands of families that depended on those businesses for their livelihood. Michael John studied management information systems and economics and has extensive finance experience working for some of the world's greatest and largest banking institutions, such as Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and the Bank of Montreal. Creating wealth in minority communities and helping small businesses is a passion for Michael John. And we've seen that here in the Morning Huddle, as Michael John has been a friend to the Morning Huddle since the very early days. So please help me welcome Mr. Michael John Green to the Morning Huddle.
Thanks so much, Danilo. Super happy to be here. I'm going to talk really fast because unfortunately I got pulled into a meeting and everybody's sitting there waiting for me. But I wanted to do this because I respect the Morning Huddle and I have a huge amount of respect for Danilo and everybody that's on here. And so as Danilo mentioned, I work at the Dade County Federal Credit Union. Back at the peak of the pandemic, a true public-private partnership came together. Myself, I see Danielle that's on here, and a couple, she now works at the Beacon Council, but a couple other CDFIs, Miami-Dade Foundation, the BBIF, and Axiom, which has recently changed their name to Ascend Us, all came together to work with Commissioner Higgins and the Board of County Commissioners to create the RISE Fund, which is a $25 million revolving small business fund. And so although we did 900 small business loans during the pandemic, 86% of those loans went to minority-owned businesses, 46% of those loans went to women-owned businesses. We are back open for funding. And so you can go to risemiamidade.com and submit your application. We will lend anywhere up to $75K. The interest rate now is 4% as rates have gone up. And the minimum credit score is 620. And we have some ways to work with people if your credit score falls a little bit below that. But the real purpose of the fund is to support the backbone and the fabric of our communities, which are all of the small businesses that are on here, right? I'm working with our IT folks to change some of that criteria right there. And that should probably change hopefully in the next 45 minutes to an hour. But you can join the mailing list. And then as soon as the link is up for folks to apply, you'll get that. And that should happen later today. But again, it's a small business fund. Dade County Federal Credit Union has been around for over, I want to say about 80 years, working in the community. Our original SEG group, which how credit unions are started, was county employees. But now Dade County Federal Credit Union is open to anyone that lives, worships, or honestly breathes air in Miami-Dade County. So anyone can become a member there. They've created a new community development department, which I head, that is really focused on economic development and supporting our community, right? And so what that looks like is the $25 million small business fund, which is RISE, in which we're accepting new applications. And then we also have just started a couple of weeks ago, a payday refinance program, right? And so that's paydayrescue.com. It is a $2 million revolving loan fund to help some people out in our community that have gotten into the high interest debt trap that are payday loans or high interest installment loans, right? The average interest rate for a payday loan in the state of Florida is 343%. And we want to be able to refinance individuals out of that high interest debt. No matter what your credit score is, as long as you have a job, you live in Miami-Dade County, and you have a high interest payday loan or high interest debt, we will refinance you out of it. The interest rate starts at 15.99, and you can take financial literacy classes to lower your rate to as low as 9.99. And that is great. And I think that, that program is awesome. We probably deserve a pat on the back just for that. But the real kicker is that anyone who goes through the program, once you pay off the payday loan, no matter what your credit score is, again, we will give you access to a $2,000 line of credit. So you'd never have to go back to a payday lender. 46% of people's first interaction with a payday loan, especially women, is because a child has a medical emergency and they don't have saved cash on the side. And we really think that that is, unfair. And so we really want to be a partner in the community and help people kind of get out of that debt cycle build a relationship with Dade County Federal Credit Union, have access to a $2,000 line of credit. So for those emergencies, they don't have to take on that high interest debt.
Fantastic, Michael John. That's a lot of information. So I know that you're pressed for time because they're waiting on you on another meeting. But I want to open it up to everybody here. You heard it. There's a bunch of great things being done by the credit union. And do you have any questions, anybody, about the Rise Miami-Dade Fund? It is now open again. And if you have any questions, please raise your hands and I will pass you the mic. While folks raise their hands, Michael John, and I see Gloria, so I'm going to go straight to Gloria. Gloria, what is your question?
Good morning, Mike. How you doing? Good morning, everyone. Gloria, I am representing also Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. And Michael, I know that you guys provide great services, but my question is, there is any limit, for example, for my company? My company can go and apply for a loan with no restrictions, so everything is based on our financial, of course.
Everything is based on the financials. I would say, I'm not sure what the restrictions you're talking about. We can only lend up to $75,000 right now at the moment. 4%, and the terms are typically either 3 years or 5 years.
So the maximum loan is
Restriction,
$75,000.
exactly. Restrictions on what you can use the money for. Technically, I would say there are not restrictions, but we do want to know what you want to use the money for. There are some things that I personally am not a fan of lending for, which is probably more around staff, right? If you're looking for an admin, I think that there's better programs like OJT to pay for that, on-the-job training, which is at Career Source, than borrowing money to pay for that. But if you're looking to have staff that maybe is going to go out there and do more business development, then I think that that's something we can have a conversation about.
Okay, so we just need to reach out to your office?
Yeah, my email is in the chat. You can email me while the website is being worked on. Shoot me an email, tell me you're interested in applying. I will send you a email with all the documents you need, right? It's taxes, bank statements, cash flow projections, and we can get the ball rolling and hopefully get you funded within the next week or so.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gloria. Anybody else have a question or a comment for Michael John? Please don't be shy. There's Grace. Grace, go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Danilo. Thank you, Michael. Are there any restrictions in terms of industries?
The typical send industries, which would be strip clubs, firearms, tobacco, alcohol, those are restricted. Oh, and money service businesses. So like Western Union, I don't know, smaller lenders or things like that. I see you have a Chase shirt on, so like, yeah, I couldn't lend to Chase.
No problem. I'm always looking out for my clients.
Need it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Grace. I think Ms. Denise, did you have a comment or a question?
No, I was going to email him. I'm looking for his information.
It should be very at the top of the chat. It's Michael John, MichaelJohn .green@DCFCU. Yep, and my cell phone number is in there. Well, as Danilo knows, this is a passion of mine, so you also can call me on my cell phone, and that doesn't bother me at all.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Michael John. And I put the email right there again, guys, so you can see it. Who else has a comment or a question? There's some great things happening. You heard some great things about Rise, about the payday rescue. Any questions or comments? Yes, Kirk, go ahead, please.
Hey, I just recently learned, so I love sharing things. So if you go to the right bottom of your screen on the Zoom, the three little buttons, for people who are asking for emails, you click those three little buttons and you can save the chat. Saves all the stuff from the chat. So anyone who wrote anything in the chat will be saved to your computer, whatever file you want. That way you don't have to go in there and save everything. Thank
you, Kirk. Yeah, that's a great tip because
really
that chat box really is valuable. Next up is Mr. Evans. Evans, you have a comment or question?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I just wanted to get some clarification again. You gave the requirements, and this is just not only for me but for everybody else. You said the minimum funding was for business funding was $75K, and the minimum credit score. The maximum. My apologies. The maximum $75K and minimum 620 credit score, but you're willing.
Yes, sir.
Willing to work with people who may be just a tad bit under there, correct?
Yes.
with also a 4% interest rate. What was the other thing you mentioned again in regards to the funding?
3 and 5 year terms.
3 to 5 year term. Got it.
No prepayment penalties. No fees. So there's not a 1% loan origination fee or any fees. You get the loan, you have the loan. There's no I would say hidden fees at all. No prepayment fees or penalties.
Got it. And then you also mentioned the $2,000 line of credit. Would you be able to, I know you're pressed for time, so I don't want to hold you too long, but could you like scan through that one more time?
Sure. So it's a payday loan refinance program, right? And so it's called Payday Rescue, paydayrescue.com. And so that's for individuals who have payday loans or high interest, I would say installment loans from payday lenders in our community. So they do have to live in Miami-Dade County, but as long as they have a job and live in Miami-Dade County, we will refinance them out of that high interest debt. The interest rate starts at 15%. Yep. And so that's the website. It's got some frequently asked questions if you have any other questions. But once they pay off the payday loan, so let's say your payday loan is $600 and you're probably going to wind up paying about $800, $900 for that $600. We will refinance you out of that. So you wind up paying $615, $625. Once you pay that off with us, we give you access to a $2,000 line of credit so you don't have to go back to a payday lender. What we really realize and think is that there are a lot of people that get into a crunch, maybe haven't managed their money the best way, or life happens, right? Inflation is a real thing. The cost of things go up and you have an emergency and you have to go to a payday lender to get that paid for. And we really want to be able to help out those individuals in our community. And so you're given access to a line of credit that's at Dade County Federal Credit Union. At any point in time after that, you can access those funds, transfer them to your account there, and use them how you please. It does not come with a card, so it's not like a credit card. It's an actual line of credit in which you would need to transfer to an account. But that interest rate starts at 15, but you can take a list of financial literacy classes that we offer, or you can take any financial literacy class offered by any nonprofit in Miami-Dade County, as long as they provide you with a certificate. You send me the certificate, it will bring your interest rate down by 1 full percentage point. And so we really think that that adds a lot of value to all of our nonprofit partners that have financial literacy classes, right? You're getting 1 full percentage point off of your interest rate. And so then you can have a line of credit or access to a line of credit at 9%, which is far lower than most credit cards. And it doesn't matter what your credit score is. So, you know, one of the things that I'm most proud about this, if you think about some of the individuals in our community that are struggling, right? They are working as hard as they possibly can. Being able to provide them with this access to a line of credit could, one, drastically improve their credit score if they use it correctly. But it also gives them the opportunity to give themselves some breathing room if they do run into a flat tire or need, you know, money for anything in their life. They're able to access this at a rate that is not egregious. Again, the average interest rate for a payday loan in the state of Florida is 343%. In running this program for about 2 weeks now, the lowest rate that I've seen so far is 147%. And so we're saving people a pretty penny.
Wow, that is impressive. And we're talking to Mr. Michael John Green. We're talking about the Rise Miami-Dade Fund. It is back, and we're talking about paydayrescue.com, which is a new program from the Federal Credit Union, and that is also going to help folks rescue folks from those the tyranny of those payday loans that are 300% in interest. That's crazy. That being said, please, if anybody have a question or a comment, please raise your hand, and I will pass you the mic.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Evans. Thank you so much. Don't be shy, anybody. We have a great opportunity. If you have any questions, I wanted to, while we take those questions, Michael John, I wanted to ask you about the process of applying for Rise Miami-Dade. So that's going to be online at the website a little bit later today. It's going to be updated with the information. You mentioned something interesting. Once folks apply, the response is quick. You get the funds out quickly, right?
We get them out pretty quickly. I would say the biggest thing is having all of your documents ready, right? Once you apply, I would say when you go to the website, that's more of pre-application, right? You're going to give us some information. how to contact you, and saying you're interested. After that, myself or one of my colleagues will reach out to you with a list of documents you need. And those are taxes, bank statements, 3 or 6 months worth of bank statements. Most important thing that I think takes people a little bit of time is going to be cash flow projections. So we're looking for cash flow projections for the next 3 years. You have all that together, we can pull some of your business documentation, which is your SunBiz and those different things. After that, we're really just having another conversation about what your real need is. We want to make sure that we're able to lend you exactly what you need, not more than what you need, because there's no reason to pay interest on money that you're not using. And we want to make sure that we're not lending you too little money. I think I'm a firm believer you can lend too much money, and you also can lend too little money. So we want to get you exactly what you need to make sure your business is successful. So sometimes in that process, that might take it a little bit longer, but if you really know what you need and you have all your documents, yeah, you're looking at about a week and a half before money is in your hand.
Wow. So preparation is important to move the process along. What was the biggest thing you've learned? Rice Miami-Dade is now entering, let's call it version 2.0, the second round of it. What was surprising to you? What did you learn from that whole process, Michael John?
I think that the most surprising thing to me is somebody that's worked in the CDFI industry for a while is how many people just don't know about CDFIs, right? I think if I, as a small business owner, CDFIs are going to really be your best friends, right? Their goal is to put out money. Their goal is to work with small businesses to lend them capital, provide technical assistance. I think that everybody that owns a small business should have a relationship with some CDFI in their community. The other thing that I think that I learned is just the amazing breadth of diversity in individuals and diversity in businesses that we have in our community, right? I think it's really amazing. All of the amazing business people that are on this call. We have 46 participants on this call, but also out there in the community that have amazing businesses that deserve funding, that deserve money to be able to grow and have good, well-functioning businesses. And so we really want to be able to support them. And Miami is an amazing community with a huge amount of diversity. And I'm also really, really, really excited about all of the female entrepreneurs that there are out there. I think that was exciting, right? 46% of the loans, almost half, went to female-owned businesses. So that's almost 450 businesses that were owned by women. I was at a Goldman Sachs, is it 100 or 10,000 businesses event last week, and they had their cohort of 20 people, and I want to say like 68% of that cohort were women-owned entrepreneurs. I think the time is now for Black and brown entrepreneurs, and the time is now for women entrepreneurs. And Credit Union, Dade County Federal Credit Union, and the RISE Fund are really here to support you in any way that we can.
Thank you for that, Michael John. I see that Gloria has her hand up again, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Deborah. Gloria?
Yes, one of the biggest barriers that I believe entrepreneurs and small business owners has is the projections. And I do believe that that's one of the barriers that people doesn't take the next step. And I would like to know, because I know that here we have a judge from Miami-Dade Foundation, and I know that they have programs in order to assist with that. But I want to ask Michael, if there is an entrepreneur, there is a small business here that they don't have, the financials in order, or they don't have the ability to really present projections, who is able to help them? And I know Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce is also willing to do so. And I think that information should be out, because those are the barriers that detain people to really go and get the benefits.
Yeah, I would say the Miami Bayside Foundation, Community Fund of North Miami-Dade, all of your chambers. There's a ton of technical assistance providers out there that can help you fill out your cash flow projection. And so I think that you really need to look at the other CDFIs that are out there to provide you that technical assistance that you need. And I'm so sorry, Danilo, I got to jump off, man.
Okay.
But I really appreciate the time. All of my contact information in there. So if anybody has any other questions, please shoot me an email and I can help you out.
Hey, Michael John, thank you so much for the time. And we'll continue on with the huddle. Good luck in your next meeting. And thanks for all the information you shared. Let's give him a big round of applause, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael John.
Thank you.
All righty, that was a lot of info, right, guys?
Sir,
Yeah. So what did you guys think? I want to hear some comments. I want to hear Gloria made a fantastic observation about the getting those financials in orders and the projections for how we do that. I wanted to, before I open it up for a discussion, I wanted to just point out to you guys that there is also another tool to help you, and that is the Miami-Dade Business Navigator. This is funded by the SBA, FIU, the SBDC at FIU got $2.5 million, and they offer technical assistance, right, in helping you prepare to launch in marketing and sales and in finance and accounting. And so they do one-on-one business assistance. They do trainings. This is another great resource for you to get that help if you need those financials in order. Get the help that you need. You can also reach out to me, and I can connect you to some of these organizations. You have my email, danilo.vargas@miamidade.gov. Reach out to me, and we can start taking a look at that. And of course, the CDFIs, Miami Bayside Foundation, many others, Community Fund of North Miami, and many other CDFIs. Partners for Self-Employment is another one. And so there is help. There's no need for us to feel like, oh my God, this is a great opportunity, but I don't know, my stuff is not in order. So how do I get it in order, right? So I think it's important to know there is assistance, but you have to do your part and call them up and avail yourself of it. So what did you guys think? I want to hear comments and questions that you might have.
Danilo, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce is part of that Navigator. So we got SBDC, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and also Start FIU. We are all handling that program, and they have great resources. So I put in the chat our website, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, in order to reach out to us because there is help.
And Gloria, the chamber does the technical assistance so they could help with the projections, right?
Yes. So we have now the program manager that her name is Gina. So you guys just go to the website of Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I put it in the chat, and you just make an appointment with Gina, and Gina is going to be able to meet one-to-one and see what difficulties or what needs everybody has, and she will be able to provide services.
Fantastic. There's another resource, and it's in the chat box, right, Gloria?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And I want to reach out to Josh. Josh, are you still there? Hey, Josh. So I wanted to ask you to comment on some of that Michael John was saying about the importance of that they disperse the funds quickly, up to $75,000 in the Rise Miami-Dade Fund, but you have to be ready, right? And I know that you are an expert in that field. What advice can you share with the business owners on the call?
The first thing we always say is there's a certain mindset that you're running your business, you have so much to take care of, and then all of a sudden you have an opportunity like Rise or any other CDFI that pops up, and you have to take a step back and say, in the work that I've done to grow my wonderful business, am I now ready to jump into this opportunity? And how long is it going to take me to execute? So these are the things where, unfortunately, sometimes it takes, you have to go back and look at the last 5 months of how your credit report looks, not really the score. The number can be inflated, or it depends on where they pull it, but what is actually on the report? How am I addressing whatever's on there that's negative or positive, that makes me look great? And then from there, are my books in order? Yasnai isn't here today to do her speech, but essentially, to grow your business effectively and to prepare for what's happening now in the economy, you really want to make sure that you contact Miami-Dade Chamber, you contact FIU SBDC, you work with the Navigator programs, all these essential tools, because if you are not going to be prepared, and let's say in 6 months, the economy has a tough struggle, there's layoffs, there's all types of issues that's going to affect your small businesses. If the foundational books aren't in order, which is just how much money came in, how much money came out, what categories did I spend these in, are my taxes up to date, who can do them for me, is it worth it? Yes. It's really the basic foundation of that. That way we can then, as lenders, see your reports and say, okay, I have your profit and loss, I have your balance sheet, I can actually see, okay, great, this needs to be adjusted, this needs to be fixed, I can work with you now. But one of the main things is getting involved and signing up with one of these programs that do technical assistance. If you need to contact lenders, or even you sign up for Rise and say, hey, this is what I have for now, let's have a conversation. at least your name is in there so that you know what you can work on. Don't do that if you have nothing. If you have nothing, you already know, I need to go get the free technical assistance from the Navigator program or one of these programs. And in the chat, you'll see the links. Access Helps, as always, has the same links as well for all the different technical assistance providers. But essentially, when it comes to projections, that's where you want to get to the base of how your business operates. How many customers are coming in per month? What is my average sale? Okay, can I do that in the next year? Okay, what will next year look like if I were to have an additional 50K or 25K or more? Can I really pay off this loan? So if it's 4% is a little less, but if you were to borrow 50K, I think that's at 4% is probably going to be under $900 a month. Can you afford that? And then can we really see in your projections how you're going to sustain through the different seasonalities? So we have the hurricane season. We may have another slowdown or something that happens just because we're in Florida that may affect your industry. Can you show me that in your numbers that, okay, I'm up, and then I expect a slight cool down because of the season or hurricane, and then I expect to rise back up. And of course, it's a conversation. So the real pressure is for you to start to put the numbers together to get connected with these resources. And then once you have something to present, it's a back and forth. CDFIs don't necessarily will tell you no. They'll say, use these resources and come back. Work on this. Let's look at this. Your credit's like this right now. You should work with Branches or Catalyst Miami or another group to get your credit where it needs to be at, or to work on a settlement plan. So, yeah. Any
Josh,
questions?
and then that's a great answer. You touched on so many things there, but I want to highlight a couple, okay? The first one is, if we have nothing prepared from our financial standpoint, and then we need to go get that help from the technical assistance providers that we discussed here to get your financial house in order, because there's the Rise Miami-Dade Fund, but there can also be challenges that we could be facing in the future. There could be an emergency. And emergency funding is released because there's a hurricane, and now we need to access that. We need to have our financial house in order. So there's help for that. Reach out to me if you need to, but you've heard, and in the chat box are a bunch of providers of that assistance. Gloria mentioned that Miami-Dade Chamber can do it as well. So there is help if you haven't prepared that yet. If you have prepared it, but you may not be sure about it, get in the queue. Go ahead and talk to your CDFI and apply so that they know that you're already there, right, Josh? I think that's what I heard from you, so that they know that you're there and you might need a little help. So Josh, the CDFIs, unlike a traditional bank, which doesn't have the resources and are not geared for that, not only have money, but they also work with you, right?
Yes, and that's why we tell people at least call, at least put in a submission. It may take people 3 to 6 months if they're really not ready to actually get the funding. And we have some cases where some people, it takes a year just because they say, okay, at least you told me what my game plan is. I need to get a letter from the IRS to say that at least my taxes are in process. I have a payment plan. At least, we'll tell you those types of things of, okay, I found an accountant. They're going to have my books ready in 2 months. I'll be back. So that way you're actually having a strategy to attack and address the problem, even if it comes up to say at the end, hey, look, we need you to take this class before we're able to loan to you because we noticed these things in your business strategy of your model. We notice X, Y, Z. It's a relationship. And one of the benefits, at least in our county, we have a lot of concentration on funding businesses. So Miami-Dade side is not the only lender in town. We all work closely together with Ascendas, with especially with Rise at 4%. It's a good deal. Can't fight it. We go over 75K, but so does Community Fund of Opelika of North Miami-Dade. We all are here to work with you guys.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting deals that the state has and other things. But again, it comes back to, are your books in order? Have you reviewed any, one of the biggest things about generational wealth is submission. Have you submitted your business and your finances to a professional or an older person or an expert in your field so you can see where you're headed? Because we want to know where you're really, it's all about where's your business model headed, and how do you manage the very simple things of, yes, I'm slowly growing my customers, or I'm taking opportunities. I manage the very simple aspects of my books. Very, very simple aspects, you know.
Right.
Some people use Excel, some people have QuickBooks, some people use Wave Accounting, which is free. There's so many simple things that we need done, and you have to take advantage of these resources because every year we have hurricane season. We know that. I'm sure a lot of your expenses are going up. Gas is ridiculous for my little Toyota. So if those things are affected, have you adjusted your plan? Have you adjusted your vendor relationships? Have you asked for terms? Have you asked for ways to stretch out the inevitable, which is in the next 2 years, a different economy? And then how can you leverage technology to change? So these are all things we do when we talk to you quickly about your business, but when you get to sit down with the technical assistance providers, and you don't have to go to one. I know plenty of people, they'll go to SBDC, they'll go to branches, they'll go to Miami-Dade Chamber, they'll be on the phone with me as well at the same time, because it's a community brain trust. It's like we've given you a lot of resources. You can really take advantage. Just don't borrow from all of us at the same time. You'll create a problem for yourself.
Absolutely. Hey, Josh, the other thing is, you know, we're talking about the projections, right, for cash flow, because Michael John was with us earlier, and Rise Miami-Dade Fund is open again. For those of you that are joining us a little later, it's opening to lending again. That was a great program, helped 900 small businesses stay open during COVID. And now they have some more funding from that same pot because they've been paying it back. Now they're releasing some more lending. And so he was saying the importance of having your financials in order, and that they do look at your projections. So Josh, on that projection front, I think we would look for two things. If I was a banker, I would look for two things. Number one, is it realistic, the projections based on past performance? So last week we sold $1,000. Now I'm saying that all the weeks going forward, we're going to sell $10,000 a week. So is that realistic? Why is that? What makes you think you can do that? And then the second thing that you pointed to that can be hidden a little bit is that seasonality and external shocks, right? Because we always think that we're going to go on the trip and everything's going to be just fine and there's not going to be a flat tire. But what if you do get a flat tire? What if there's a shock or something that like COVID or seasonality, right? That you're saying during the summer, you're expecting high sales, but we know that during the summer, sales are low. So you just want to question that is a realistic plan. So if I'm lending you the money, I know that you have a plan that actually has a good chance of working out and you're going to be able to repay the loan. Do I have that right, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. Your past performance, and that's why it's so important, the basic fundamentals of saying, you know, this is what my sales have been each month. This is my cost of goods. And even if it's not perfect, hopefully at least the revenue is the most accurate part. And then you know your expenses. So that way you can see your trend. And if you work with a professional, or if the system that you're using shows you, it shows, hey, I do about 30% each month. That's what I have at the end of the day. Oh, this last 3 months, my expenses shot up. I can see what's going on. And then maybe it's you looking backwards always, because looking forward is something where in a lot of projections, people are looking at either the perfect scenario or they can't figure it out and they have to sit down with someone. So we definitely want it to be realistic, and you can use your past taxes. And that's why it's so important to have those together. And what we do is a side-by-side thing. We put 2020 next to 2021, next to 2019. So we can clearly see the lines of, oh, okay, this is how their year ended. Okay. And then we have questions. Oh, we see that you improved here. Is it because of X, Y, Z? And you say, yes, I got a contract with the county, or I got a deal with the local hotel, or I found local vendors to work with, and this helped my revenues go up, and then it helped me make my margins better. So, but if you don't do the side-by-side comparison, it's hard for you to say like, okay, how is my business going? What's going on in the business? Oh, I made some money. I didn't make some money. I can't pay myself. All these things happen, but the fundamental thing is, can you track those several levels? You know, what's on my credit report? How is my revenues doing? Where are my expenses? Where's my gross profit? If you can do that for the last 5 months and start tracking 5 months forward, you can really engage with a lot of these programs effectively and be able to say, okay, I know what's going on in my business. I know my numbers.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Josh. And I know that Ms. Ardebra and Kirk have their hands up. Ms. Ardebra?
Hi. Thank you, Danilo. I my business is established. I work with a national company. However, I'm about community, and my goal is to help the young people who are trying to start businesses. And I see a lot of lenders, but what about those people who, because what I'm trying to do is get them, a lot of these young people, to see you're creative, you can make money, you don't have to go into the other aspect as far as doing criminal activity. So I'm dealing with a lot of young people who are have their own, they're photographers and audio engineers and things like that. So they decided, I've convinced them, go back to school, get certification so you can be able to say, I did this, I did that, I've got something behind me. But then, they are not established enough, especially with what COVID did to their companies, where they may have been prospering or being able to see where they were growing, and then here comes COVID. So looking at 2019 and looking at 2020, you're not going to see any growth for them. So what do they need? Because they're not going to have they're not going to be able to qualify with lenders and everything. And I'm just wondering, is there something for them? Because the SBA, when you get right down to it, really didn't help these kids. And when I read about SBA giving these people millions of dollars, and these young people couldn't even get $10,000 or even $5,000, I'm just wondering, where do they go? Who's going to help them? Because they don't have the credit score and all of that other stuff that the young man just said to qualify for lending. Who helps them? And how do I get how can I encourage them to keep going and not just give up?
So
you,
yes, you're right. The pandemic affected a lot of businesses, and some businesses can't show growth, but that's not one of the key things we're looking for. That's a important aspect if it's a positive, but in a lot of cases we see people that, and that's why CDFIs exist. We're looking for people that you're managing what you have effectively. So you're not over leveraged, you're not borrowing too much, as well as if you are in a loss, you have a solution. And that's what the money is for. But 2 resources, Tools for Change, Partners for Self-Employment, and I believe there's other micro lenders like Ascend Us maybe, and us sometimes, but it just depends. But Tools for Change, Partners for Self-Employment, if they have the time as entrepreneurs to put aside, these are groups that will say, at least I believe for Partner Self-Employment, your credit's not essential. The essential part is your participation in getting the business training. So you have access to our credit lines from 500 up to 25,000. The SBA process, as well as other processes, rely heavily on credit. And business credit is a key thing that a lot of our businesses need to learn immediately, because if your personal credit is something that is of concern, it's going to take you several months to pay off. It may take you several years just because of how you've managed it. That may be a huge deterrent with a lot of programs. So if you have collections and different things that are negative, those are things we have to discuss to see if it warrants approval. But with business credit and programs like Partners for Self-Employment, Tools for Change, and other CDFIs in general, we may be able to work with you. But business credit is something that if you can establish early and you learn it, I use a resource, a Facebook group called Get Business Credit, and it's all free, and it's a community of people discussing resources and figuring it out. Again, are you utilizing the resources in the community of people that have the knowledge on all these different aspects? Because ultimately debt is not the solution. I give out loans, but that isn't what we're all looking for. We're looking to have our businesses be able to grow effectively, to be able for us to have retirement and a legacy, as well as if you plan to sell it, make lots more money. But it's something where this is just the foundation of things. So, but Tools for Change, Partners for Self-Employment are 2 of the resources they can go to. And they should still apply to a CDFI because we may have special programs. They may want to go to branches. They may get a grant if they're working with a bank at the time, or Prospera, which also has grants. There's so many ways that they have to work the system, but it is a long road. I used to say it takes 3 years to get some things together. Now it's maybe 5 to 7 years to really get things tightened with your business so that you can operate as well as be able to manage and then eventually train somebody to really take over. So it is a process, and credit makes the time longer sometimes if you have negative credit.
Thank you, Josh. Ms. Deborah, that was some great tips there. You can send them to Tools for Change, Partners for Self-Employment. Please connect them to Strive 305 so that they're part of the mayor's getting the newsletter, making sure that they're informed about what grants are available. Grants is free money. They can track those grants, Ms. Deborah, on acceshelps.org. Okay, so they can be looking to see what grants are there. They can also, look at improving their credit. They can look at skilling up as well. There's a lot of programs for youngsters to skill up and acquire skills. So there is a lot of help, and it's not easy. This road of entrepreneurship, nobody said it was easy. We just said there would be ice cream at the end, right? That's all it really is, but it wasn't going to be easy. But there's plenty of resources that are there for them, and Strive 305 can connect them to all of them. So please keep that in mind and send them those links, because all those organizations have websites and they can connect them directly and be part of those CDFI efforts. As little as $500, $5,000 are microloans, right? That they can access to get started doing some work. And the credit is not as critical as Josh said. So those are things that to keep in mind. I'm going to go next to Kirk, who's been taking some great notes. Kirk, summarizing what's been said. You had a question or a comment?
Yeah, and it's partnering up with what or dovetailing back from what Joshua and Michael said. And I just last week went to the Broward business. It was Broward Business and Beyond. It's a conference it's the 5th year that they have it. And I walked in and it was full of Black and brown faces. And what Michael said is true. Our time is now. And these are all great resources that the mayor's office and Danilo exposes us to. But the more and more I get involved in it, the more and more I see it's a different mindset. I talked to a lot of brown and Black brothers that day, a lot of entrepreneurs, female of all colors. And I got that sense that we're all in this together. And I keep preaching collaboration trumps competition in a post-COVID economy. And it's trying to get that message out. And as soon as Michael said it, I want everybody on this chat to realize it is like, we're all in here for a reason. We all have similar backgrounds. We're all trying to build. Why not build something together where business can get closed within a click or a phone call. There's confidence in the people that you're working with. They reflect your values. They reflect your background. And we're all in it together, and we're all building together. So I just wanted to talk about that elevated mindset, that Black and brown business mindset, because the time really is now. And if you feel like you're all alone, you're here for a reason. Danilo is guiding the way for Miami-Dade. There's also, once you're ready, I'm a Miami-Dade guy. I was up at Broward. I met a couple other Miami-Dade people that are up in Broward. And there's so many people like us. And it's time to start connecting with those people. Don't be afraid. The people who will brush you off, but the people who are like-minded and want to build, something brown and Black and beautiful with you and help you strive, you find those people. And here's a key for that mindset. I don't know if a lot of people have, as first-time entrepreneur, I'm swimming in these waters for the first time, and I met a lot of CEOs at that event, and a few of them really blew me away with the very first thing that they said out of their mouth. And this is how you're all going to know if the people you really want to do business with. The first thing out of their mouth, they said, "Okay, so what do you do, and how can I help you?" Right? And isn't that empowering? Isn't that a breath of fresh air? And I want everyone to have that mindset where it doesn't matter how little you are or how little you may think you are, you're building something great, you're building your brand, you're aspiring for something bigger, but there is a community. I want everyone to understand how big this community is.
Yes.
And it stretches all across South Florida, stretches all across the US. And it's time for us all to elevate. And I'll shut up now because I could go on this for days.
Thank you, Kirk. You know, Martin Luther King said something I said when the mayor announced our office. I quoted him because he said something that I never forgotten, right? Because I mean, I have a lot of money. Maybe I'm just starting out. I'm young. I don't have a lot, but you know what? He said that anybody can be great because anyone can serve. And I think that's powerful advice, right? You can always be of service to a fellow human being. So that's an empowering thought as a business leader, right? So that being said, I want to reach out to Grace if Grace is there, from another banker's perspective. And I also want to reach out to Shivas if Shivas is there. Grace, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Grace real quick. Grace, we have about 3 more minutes. I just wanted to you are a banker, Grace. You work and care deeply about small business owners. And you have a team that's working with folks all over the county. From the traditional banking perspective, what can you tell us about the conversation you've heard today? What pops up in your mind?
Thank you, Danilo. Well, first of all, I want to commend all of you because to be an entrepreneur is to be a risk taker, right? And to be a leader in your community. I was a former banker, right? For the last 15 years, serving the commercial bank. Today, I'm a mentor for the firm. So we work with minority entrepreneurs in building credit readiness, right? Because you can be credit worthy, you can have an amazing business, but we need to understand what banks are looking for, what the SBA is looking for, and we actively partner with all of the CDFIs that are here today. So we work collectively. I would say definitely take advantage of all the resources. There is a lot that's happening in our great community that has never seen before. So I'll definitely say that it's very important to be prepared. Number one, very important to understand your financial data, right? What is it that we were looking for, right? Michael Green said, we're looking for financial statements, cash flow projections. Let's be intentional around that, right? What does that look like? What is that projection means to you, to your employees and your legacy? It's very important because you can say, I want to make millions, but it's really the profit that you want to really focus on. You can make so many millions, but if your business is not profitable, right? And Danilo knows this from our Profit First book. And profits are very important. Also, the character of your business. I'm sure you heard about the 5 C's. So let's look at collateral, credit, cash flow, character, and make sure that your business is ready, that you have a plan to succeed, and that you're looking out how to scale up. CDFIs will help you get there to be bank ready so that we can talk about what other resources are there for the next 5-10 years of your growth plan, right? The firms and many banks have different lines of business that are addressing the small business sector, the middle market businesses of the world, and different verticals. We provide a lot of industry insights, economic insights around healthcare, aviation, manufacturing, distribution, retail, you name it, right? So I'm able to provide all of you through our chase.com/business consultant website. You can have access to myself and other consultants across the country to give you consulting 101 to tell you what those insights are. And I know Jasnai has worked with myself in the past, and all the other CDFIs that are here today can comment to that. Thank you, Danilo. I don't know if anyone has questions for me. I'm open to provide any feedback to you all.
If you can just make sure that your contact info is in the chat box, Grace, and that's great. It's good to know that you guys provide that intelligence that small business owners can use, right, as they're creating their financials. Another piece of the puzzle, right? You need to do market research. For example, if I have a bakery, how should a bakery be performing? What are some of the targets that an average bakery can expect in terms of sales during what timeline, right? A lot of important information. So thank you, Grace.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go also, Grace, to Shivas, right? Because Shivas is one of these entrepreneurs that has accomplished so much, and I wanted to ask him, Shivas, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
How do you approach thinking about Ms. Sardebra's question about the youngsters that are starting out? They don't have the sales, they don't have the history yet, and yet they need some assistance, that little push at the beginning to get going. So how do they find capital? You negotiate this all the time in the different ideas and things that you've launched. How do you approach this question of what we've discussed here today?
This is according to the young people, right?
Well, according to the young people, but also in more broadly, how do you look at getting a loan, for example, for something? How do you know, how do you get ready? How do you do it as an entrepreneur?
So the first thing I did was I educated myself. Being on platforms like this with other business owners was definitely a drive for me. When I first retired from teaching, I took the first 3 months because I didn't have any customers. But the first 3 months I was kind of stuck at home wondering what the heck did I do? So what I did was I went to networking events every single week, maybe 2 or 3, from Miramar, Homestead, all the way up to Fort Lauderdale to meet other business owners so I can get more information. Once I got that information, I utilized the information. I didn't wait. I followed up with the people that I met at the meetings, and I just kept, learning and learning. Not only that, but in 2020, I went through, I did a challenge for myself and whoever wanted to do it with me. I went through 52 books in 1 year. So that's a book a week. All that information I kept absorbing, kind of like I'm going to college on my own. And so with that, I learned how to figure out my finances, figure out my budgets, doing my income statement. And I have a very good tax accountant. That's very important. If you have a CPA or a very good tax person, they're going to educate you. Get somebody that's going to educate you, that's going to need the right information to make sure it works for you. That's also very important as well. So those tidbits is going to make you better at what you're doing. So once you learn to get disciplined, because discipline is going to be the key for you to, to make sure that you do what you need to do. Once you have and develop that discipline, then you can start looking at other areas to expand and then just duplicate the process. It takes diligence, it takes focus, and it's going to take some patience on your part to get what you need to get done. And we get these emails. I know you business owners on here get these emails that say, this grant is available for business, but we always think in the back of our mind, I'm not going to get it. You got to dispel that thought. That's the number one thing that stops us from doing it. I'm not going to do it. They don't do it for us. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. Stop doing that to yourself and say, yes, I can do it. And that's going to be that's really the key to making sure you do it. Even though if I didn't have all the information, I applied anyway, and let them call me and tell me what I don't have. And then I go back and find what I need to get. And so that is going to make all the difference. Change your mindset. That's why I read all those books to change my mindset. Change your mindset to say, yes, they want to give me $10,000. Yes, they want to give me $50,000. Yes, the SBA want to give me $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 because they want me to succeed. The little is here right now because he wants you to succeed. And if you can get those thoughts of negativity out of your mind, then you will succeed. And I've been able to receive, I'm not going to tell you how much, but so much money doing COVID and all these things because I had to shift my mind to say that they want to help me. And once you do that, then you'll start to receive the benefits of what you want to be able to receive.
Wow, Shivas, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. We've heard that word mindset today like 5 different times from different people, right? So it really is about focusing our attention on succeeding. And you see from the huddle and you see from all the great people that were on here that, there's lots of people that want to help you, right? So that's a great opportunity. Keep that positive mindset, get that homework done. Let's get our house in order, whether it's for applying for the Rise Miami-Dade Fund or for other funds or for emergency funding that can be made available down the line. Remember that we live in a hurricane-prone area. There can be a hurricane this year, and it'll be a declaration of emergency, and you have to have all your business back of house in order. So it's very important. And we have some great people here. So I just want to thank everybody for this conversation. Give yourselves a big round of applause. This was great. Rise Miami-Dade Fund is open for business. You can go check it out at risemiamidade.com. And join us, please, next week when we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to be talking about a marketing topic, which is copywriting. I know that if you are not in marketing per se, and we all are in marketing, by the way, because we have a small business, we are all marketers. But we don't talk about copywriting. What's copywriting? Well, copywriting is how you craft your message so those customers click on your offers, call you, right? Go to your website, download what you offer, all these things to get their attention. You need to know how to copyright. And so we're bringing an expert copywriter next week to talk to us about that and other marketing topics. So I hope you'll join us because marketing is another way of saying, how do we get more customers? That's the best. We heard Josh say something interesting. Loans and grants are not the solution ultimately. The solution ultimately is having a business that attracts customers in a healthy way and in the volume that you need to succeed. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So please join us. Let other business owners know that we're here. And I will see you next week at 10 a.m. in the Morning Huddle. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Danilo.
Thank you, Mr. Deborah.
Thank you so much,